Welcome back to Red White Truth. I'm your host, Teisha, and we are joined today with Rich Valdes. Rich, thanks so
Good
much for
morning.
this today. So, as you can tell now, we are out of that COVID, but you saw what happened. Well, we read today about California. You know that they had shut those churches down. And now the churches won a settlement in California, legal fees of $2 million. And now the state of California, the court is saying that churches have to be treated like Costco. If you require 50%, you can't shut the churches down. Do you think that churches should really be treated like restaurants and retail and be open? I mean, isn't religion just a place of worship? Do people really have to have churches when the pandemic was around, Rich?
So, here's what I think, Tisha. I think obviously churches are likely more important than the essential businesses that the court is claiming. But I think the court is spot on in saying you can't have more restrictions on a church than you would on a retail establishment. So I think the argument at the time was, so I can go to Walmart, I can go to Home Depot, but I can't go to church, was a very valid argument where people just weren't able to go and worship. And this is obviously a fundamental right. I may not necessarily have a right to shop at Costco, but I definitely have a right to go worship.
But so this is what I'm saying. Why would newsman, the governor of California, think it was okay to shut churches down and to keep Costco and other things open? Does government really think that they're not subject to God, or that people can do without God and places of worship?
Well, I think the government obviously is out of their mind. Gavin Newsom, the governor in California, he's definitely a Looney Tune who drank a little bit too much of the COVID Kool-Aid, if you will. He really got drunk with power, thinking that they could say whatever they wanted to, that somehow it was more important to go to certain retail establishments, and only certain ones, because the mom and pop shops suffered equally. And I think this was a part of the issue, where there were multiple lawsuits. And I think every time we the people rose up and said, you know what, this isn't right, and we're going to sue, and we're going to take this to the court, I think they won almost every single time, because it was clear that the government had overstepped their bounds. With one of the quotes from the case that was not this one, but a while back, and it said that even during a pandemic, the Constitution still exists.
Yes, it looks like a lot of governors didn't think the Constitution exists. So what do you feel about President Joe Biden? What do you think? A, B, C in office yet? How would you rate President Joe
Well,
Biden?
the president, Tisha, he's completed 100 days, 120 days by now. I would give him clearly probably an F minus if I could. The guy's been a disaster. You look at the border situation that Trump took a long time to clean up, and with a lot of effort, right? He went to court, he did this, he did that, he put up a wall. They said you couldn't put up a wall. They said he couldn't use the money. They said he couldn't do anything. He shut down the border. We didn't see people coming in from anywhere during COVID. Biden comes, the thing is wide open. And I hate to say that, because I really don't believe that the Border Patrol is doing nothing and not stopping people. They're just overwhelmed because Biden's literally made an invitation saying we can allow this type of thing. The Secretary of Homeland Security said, I'm not saying don't come, just don't come now. These types of stupid statements, I think, have put America in a really, really difficult predicament, because now we've got this onslaught of people coming in, many of them wearing Biden t-shirts, expecting full well, saying, you know what, Biden said I could come. When I come, I get free this and free that and free the other thing. And this is a problem, because it's not that we don't want to have compassion for the immigrants. The issue is we have to do it lawfully, and we have to always take care of America first.
So basically, yes, I agree. Joe Biden is an F so far in his 100 days. And I wish and hope that Joe Biden will do much better. But we see now also, too, something else is happening. When the unemployment is about to run out and people don't want to go back to work. Can you blame them, Rich? I mean,
Yeah, well, I do blame them. I think, listen, I don't care if the government's giving you free money or not. I think the only way you make it in this life is if you make your own way. You look at a guy like Bill Gates, who created this software company. You look at Michael Dell, who started, or Apple even, Steve Jobs. These guys all started in a garage somewhere, starting a business. I know what it's like to start a small business. And I can tell you, I'd rather scrape by in my own small business than have my hand out to Joe Biden. So I'm not with that type of thing. But I will say this. It's important that many Americans who were forcibly pushed out of their job because of coronavirus have some sort of safety net, because it was the government that pushed them out of work. Now, with that being said, I don't think that we should be giving more money than somebody would get in some of the lower level paying jobs. And that's unfortunately what we see. I live in Jersey. I work in the city. I go, so it depends on my mood. It depends on where I go for my coffee in the morning. And I can tell you this, when I go to the Wawa that's in Jersey, they're now giving an $800. All right, oh, there you go. Eight. I know how to count. $800 signing bonus for individuals that are signing up to work at Wawa. I went to get a salad at their salad bar the other day, and it said, the person told me, they said, sorry, we're really short staffed. We don't have as many employees as we need, so we're not serving salad right now. Because it takes too long to chop it up and this and that. So it's grab and go. And I thought to myself, wow. So they're looking to hire 5,000 new employees, and they're offering them $800 just to take the job. I've heard of some people paying people for interviews. So clearly these jobs, fast food, things like that, where people may not make, $33,000 a year, but it's a job for a lot of people, especially a lot of young people that are either in college, coming out of college, or retirees that want to make extra money, or whomever. The point is, when you get this extra money, or in states like New York, where you get the extra perks. For example, if you were in jail when coronavirus hit, or if you were an illegal alien and didn't qualify to get your stimulus money, you now in New York can apply for $27,000. And they'll give you $27,000 only if you were in jail, only. So you have to be a convict or an illegal alien to qualify for this money. So when you have a situation like that, it makes me think, well, listen, I'm sure that I could have made more money during coronavirus, even though I got to be on the radio and I got to do what I do. I'm hoping I could have made some more money because less people were spending money. So can I go to Andrew Cuomo and say, excuse me, Essential Andy Cuomo from the Essential Andy Cuomo podcast, sir, can I get extra money? Because if I can, I'm going to apply for unemployment or PPP or whatever it is that I can get, and I'm going to get my fair share.
It's just, and this is what I want to talk to young people about, because it sounds so good when government is giving you money. Is it really free, Rich? Is the money really free?
Yeah, well, the old saying, there's no free lunch in this game, right? I mean, there's really absolutely nothing that's free. It's definitely costing somebody something somewhere. And I think this is another big part of the problem that we face as a nation, is where you have individuals like all out crazy. My least favorite congresswoman from the Bronx and Queens, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, and she says things and makes these t-shirts that say tax the rich. And I think, okay, everybody should get taxed the same way. And that's something I've always felt to be true, from being a 16-year-old that started my own business to who I am today. Everybody should pay. If you make $18 million a year, great, pay 10% or 20%, whatever it is. If you make $1,800 for the year, pay your fair share. But it should be an equal fair share. This should not be about, you paying more because you make more necessarily. You should only pay more proportionally. So I think a fair tax, a flat tax, that type of thing really, really needs to be implemented, because without that, we're going to continue to see rich people get raped, figuratively speaking. And this is why people are fleeing New York. You've got homes for sale all over the place, because people are saying, you know what, I can't afford to live in New York. I can't afford to live in Westchester County. This stuff is out of control. And Biden is one of the chief architects, along with Cuomo and others, of these programs where we say, you know what, we're just going to keep giving money away. We're going to continue to spend money and raise taxes.
So I don't want to say, you were saying that people are fleeing, they're fleeing New York and they're fleeing California. That's two states that are run by Democratic governors. Are we trying to say, Rich, that the Democratic governors are not as bright as the Republican governors? I
Oh,
mean,
I would say that, sure. I think that they fail miserably on both fronts, both on serving the people and being fiscally responsible. You have Gavin Newsom, who's facing a recall right now, Andrew Cuomo, who's facing one scandal after the next. So, I mean, if you look at those things just on face value, you have to say these guys are not doing a good job, and people are upset. But something that's interesting, I think a lot of people say, oh, these people leaving blue states, when they move to Texas, when they move to Tennessee, when they move to Florida, don't bring your blue state values with you. Don't come here voting for that same Democrat mess that you voted for when you were in a blue state. And I say, you know what, that may be cute to say, but the reality is a lot of these people, some of them, the rich people, are escaping because of taxes that are very confiscatory. But everybody else that's leaving, especially those that are in the progressive movement, they're going with the express purpose of taking over and creating a new blue state. This is how Beto O'Rourke got elected in Texas. Because something that I've noticed, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but conservatives tend to say, you know what, get off my back, get out of my pocket, like Reagan said. I get it. Let me do my thing. The problem with that is progressives believe, you know what, I'm going to move to your state and go ruin your state with my progressive values. And Republicans, conservatives, they just said, oh no, I'm just going to raise my kids, run my trucking company, run my restaurant, do what I got to do. I'm going to sit here and it's pretty much playing dead, right? They're going to roll us over if we don't start sticking up for what we believe in. And that's ultimately what's happening. It's happening over and over. And this is why you see people in what were once red states. You have these blue, very blue progressive Democrat politicians getting elected time and time again, because they go there with the express purpose of, I'm moving to that state to take over.
wow. So one question left and then we'll go. How can Republicans or conservative do better in 2022? What can we do, Rich? How can we hold some seats? What do conservatives need to do?
Well, I think conservatives really need to do a whole lot of soul searching. And this is something I talk about on my podcast, This is America with Rich Valdes, and I do it a lot because I think it's important is we really have to figure out, what can I personally do to replace the problem that I see? If I see a problem in my child's classroom, what can I do? And go through a list. Can I become my child's teacher? Can I get a job in the school board? Can I run for school board? Can I go and write a letter? Can I complain? Whatever, you have to escalate these issues to the point of realizing. I spent 10 years as a school board member in Jersey City, and I learned a lot. And I totally believe in parents being the ones that are in charge of their children's education, and everybody else is there to help. And that's the approach that I think we need to have, and we need to embrace each and every time. But too many people call, what do we do? What do we do? What's the next step? And I'm thinking, the responsibility for America's liberty and maintaining our liberty rests on the shoulders of we the people. Amen. It's not them, the politician. That when people say, what are the Republicans doing? Who cares about what they're doing? They've got their hands out, they're whining, dining, pocket lining. This is what they do. We can't expect a crook to come and somehow defend me, to stick up for my taxes, to stick up for my kid. You've got a handful of good politicians out there, but by and large, they all need to be replaced. So Americans that are conservative, that are patriots, that say, you know what? I need to become that politician. I need to fund the politician that I believe in. I need to run for this office or that office. I need to create a super PAC. I need to do whatever I got to do to make sure that those guys don't win.
Wow. And where can my viewers hear more about you? Tell us about the podcast.
Sure. Yeah. Anything that I'm doing, whether it's TV, podcast, you name it, it's at richvaldes.com, at Rich Valdes on all the social media. And that's Rich Valdes with an S.
Thank you, Rich. See you soon.
Thank you, Teisha. Take care.
We'll be back after this.